Because you can imagine if everyone was listening to all kinds of music. See, America is a melting pot that never melted.
Mm.
If you ride the subways, you'll have people from China, Korea, Vietnam, Poland, Russia, England, Colombia, South Carolina, Colombia, South America as well, from all over the world. And then what happens is it stops, and these people get out and they go to their community. It stops, they go to their community. It stops, they go to their community. And people don't know anything about other people. They don't know about, they think of Chinese people, they think of Chinese takeout. You think of Polish people, you think of kielbasa, So related to food, but you don't know about the composers, the poetry. You don't even think that other people have art or culture. You just sort of
reduce, maybe.
Yeah, and the thing is that imagine if everyone in every school there were exchange programs where you went to Vietnam and lived with a Vietnamese family. When they said, well, we're going to war with Vietnam, I said, no, you're not. You may be going, but I'm not going. Those people are my friends. I lived in Syria. I know how they think. I lived in Iran. I live with the families. And they don't want people to be together because it sort of, it doesn't work with their agenda. That all people are related. We come from the same gene pool, and there's a commonality, is that we're people. And, but somehow people who make money think they can't make money with people being together. But what they don't know is that, first of all, you don't need to make any more money. You made enough money for several lifetimes. You have umpteen amount of homes around the world. You have all these riches. You don't need any more. So when you start making more money than you need, then you engulf with a sickness. And they just want to make more money, more money, more money, more money. And it's really, it'll take you over. And there's no logic system. If you have like 10 kids, okay, you got to make money. So why do you have to make so much money? I got 10 kids. I got to feed them. I got to, buy them clothes. But now you have enough money to feed 10,000 kids, and you have no kids. And that's what happens. We really just get more and more and more, and it just takes over your body. And then you start doing things and making money that are wrong. You begin to go over the law of, again, we mentioned kicking people out of their houses, foreclosing on mortgages, giving people, sterilizing people with baby formulas and without telling them, or even like in the past doing experiments with people with syphilis. Giving the indigenous people blankets with smallpox. We've done all kinds of really out things, all because we just don't see it. And when you can't see, you can't see. And immediately if you run into someone that can't see, and then all of a sudden they can see, it's like, wow, I'm not going to do that anymore. And they'll tell you in a second, I was wrong. I see the light now. Before I wasn't seeing anything. And that's how it is. When you can't see, you can't see. You're really engulfed in, but then that's what the poetry comes in. That's where the art comes in. It somehow, if you got a little cracks in your system, a poem can go in there and widen that up and widen it up. A piece of art can say, you can look at it and you say, wow, that's yeah. And then all of a sudden, things make sense. It didn't make sense. And that's why music is. That's why it's so important to learn what music is, how it operates, how it fits into the universe. And the idea, if you read the Hazrat Anytime, which was our Bible when we were coming up, as far as the purpose of music and how music is defined, and music is anything that's beautiful, and music sometimes is sound, but it's poetry, it's dance, it's a garden, it's someone who has a great personality. I mean, when Don Cherry used to come around, and Don Cherry, you'd be like, we'd be sitting out in the steps over here on Avenue B, and here comes Don Cherry roller skating down the block, with a propeller and and then Don is sitting hang with you for like 3-4 hours. Now, he didn't play any music, we just was talking. When we were always talking about the Dalai Lama and talking about things like that. And at the end, it's like, wow, that's a good feeding. And then you walk down the block and you run into Jackie McLean, Glacier Moncor. You always be running into musicians. You go over 11th Street and Avenue B, and there's Andrew Hill and Billy Higgins. So, I mean, that was our training ground coming up. It wasn't the university, it was the university of the streets. It was the musicians that fed you and clothed you and told you about how to get to the center of the music. I mean, I used to go to, when I met Billy Higgins, I met Billy Higgins and Andrew Hill the same day. And I was playing a duo with Billy Higgins, and then Andrew came in. We were playing over at 11th Street at the Firehouse. And I used to go to Billy Higgins' house out in Brooklyn, St. Mark's, and like 2-3 times a week. The first time I went out there, I went into his basement. There was a piano player. Chris Anderson was there, and Clifford Jordan was there, and Wilbur Weir was there. So I met 3 musicians in one day, and then other times me and Billy would just play duets. Billy would play the guitar. He would play the bongos or the doumbek. And so that was my jazz 101. And then I started studying with Wilbur Weir, and that was another experience. And then I studied with Milt Hinton and Jimmy Garrison and Art Davis, and Charles Brackeen was another school study. So every musician put their music together differently, and that's how you learn that you could put music together so many different ways. When I played with Don Cherry, he never had a chart. He would always sing the parts and he'd be playing. When Cecil Taylor, he would dictate the parts to you. And I remember Cecil, I played with Cecil for about 12 years. I met Cecil in '73 and played with him at Carnegie Hall. And that's when I met a lot of the musicians, Sonny Murray and Andrew Cyril and Cerrone, and David S. Ware was in that concert. We played Rafael Malik. And so years afterwards when we were playing, and a musician told Cecil, Cecil, I don't know if I can play all of these notes. I can't really hit those notes. And then Cecil told him, well, just play the ones you like. And that's how it was, so that's okay. The idea, okay, now you just play the ones you like and the ones that are suited for you. So the idea of writing for the players, if somebody could play one sound that could change the world, you don't need the other sounds. Every time I play boom, whoo, yeah, the music went right up to the top. The thermometer went right up, the mercury went right up. So I've already got half the battle licked by just being able to play one or two things that go there. And everybody's different. Some people play melodies so beautifully. Johnny Hodges, and they don't need to play anything else. There's some people who can play very harmonically, whatever that is, changes and all that beautifully and extend off of that. And then there are people who can play rhythmically, in and out. They just play rhythmically. And what I found is that we're all from musical clans. And I got this from studying, in the 70s, studying the Hopi Indians. And they had clans like the Fox Clan, the Rabbit Clan, the Owl Clan, the Bear Clan, and they all had different ceremonies. And then I figured, well, why does this guy play loud all the time when he plays the drums? 24/7 he plays loud. You could wake this guy up at 3 in the morning and say, get up, let's play. And he'll play loud. And then you say, can I ask you a question? He said, sure. Why do you play so loud all the time? I said, well, I come from the Loud clan. My grandmother played loud. My grandfather played loud. My father played loud. My brother played loud, and my sister played loud. We play loud. Now, if you want someone that plays soft, hire that guy. He's from the Soft clan. And then if you want somebody that can play loud and soft, then you hire that guy. If you want somebody that can keep time, then you hire that guy. And so everyone has got a place in the music. And like people say, well, man, I've been trying to play this bebop. I just can't play it. I don't hear it. So I in order to get out the music school, I got to be able to play bebop. Well, you know something? Maybe you're not supposed to play bebop. Let's find out what you're supposed to play and see if you can play that for your recital to get out of this music school. And so everybody's supposed to be doing something and some of it is not even playing music. Some of it could be something else. So you have to find out what you're supposed to be doing and try to see if you can do it and whether you can make it resound when you play. So, which gives a wide open space for everybody can be a musician. Everybody can find out. If you find out that you don't want to be a musician, that could be music right there. You say, well, you know what I can do though? I can build things. I can build you anything you want. I can build a cabinet. I can build a chair. I can build a house even. That's music. Because when you build a house, it sings. It's so beautiful. This guy, I once was in Waldoboro, Maine, and this guy named Dudley Rockwell was a boat builder, and I had to borrow a bass. And I said, well, how can I borrow a bass from him? He says, Dudley made his own bass, and he made a bass out of cherry wood. That's the most beautiful bass I've ever seen, and it's beautiful. But I played it, didn't have any sound. And so the idea, is that he could, I would say the bass could sail like a boat, but he made it just looked beautiful. What he had to do was talk to a luthier and figure out how to work out the mechanics of science of how to get more sound out of it. That's what I told him. So he said he'll look into it. Because he was the kind of guy that could learn anything. He just had to apply himself. He didn't think about it so much because he was sort of, Waldoboro was the kind of place you order a book from the bookstore and it comes in the next week. And so all week you're waiting for that book. And then on Saturday you walk down to the bookstore and you get your book. And he played in the senior citizens band, and they just played, beautiful stuff. And but it's hard to really get away from beauty in life. It's around us all the time. We just have to be able to see it. To not be stepping on flowers without knowing it, and be able to feel that when a kid is 12 years old, or even before 12, and he says, or 8, 9 years old, says, well, I don't care whether I live or die, because I'm going to get them before they get me. I'm going to join the gang. You say, like, how's a kid 8 years old, 9 years old, at 9 years old doesn't care whether he wants to live or die? And when you don't care whether you want to live or die, it's hard to reach people that way because they don't care. You know, they don't care. Well, I don't care. I'm going to, I don't, you know. And so how does that happen? Our society, there's something really off. But they can be brought back. They can be brought back. I mean, you could be like on your edge about to jump and you hear, you know, Jimmy Lyons or something, you know, and you say, wow, what is that? And all of a sudden, like, pew, transformation takes place. I mean, that's how quick it is, especially when you're engulfed in the depths of the darkness. You know, immediately the light comes on. You can see, and you say, yeah, let me get out of here. And where's that music coming from? And so it's really like great to be aware of these things, and that they're interested in all kinds of people who play music, and there are all kinds of musics, and we just have to keep exploring and learning, and you learn when you're not even expected to learn. I mean, when I say learn, I don't mean sit down and study, because you say, well, you know, you take off playing for 4 days, and you say, I just want to take off for 4 days. And the fifth day you pick up your instrument, you're playing something different. You're playing better. Well, wait a second, how did that happen? And meanwhile, your friend is over there, he's practicing all day and all night, and he sounds the same. And this is one of the mysteries. How can this guy, every time he picks up that instrument, he's playing something different, something new, something great. And this guy's practicing all the time, he's playing the same thing, and he doesn't even play that right. So what is that about? You know, I mean, you know, why does that happen? You know, and because it's not so much about practicing or learning, it's about becoming. You see, because you can learn, you know, like birds just fly. So I learned how birds fly. When you get on top and you jump off, you know, it's more to it than just learning things and trying to figure out, well, I got this scale, and I have that scale, and I have this, and I have that. And that guy over there, he would know a scale if it hit him in the head. And he's just all over it. Like, what is that about? How can that happen? So there's these things that you have to figure out the balance of where your head is to, and your body and your spirit is to figuring out things. Because there are people who've been told that they have no musical aptitude, who are great musicians now today, and they've been discouraged. You say, oh, well, I don't think you're going to make it in music because you don't have this, you don't have that, you'll never be this, you'll never be that. And that's like a bold statement to tell somebody what they're never going to be, especially when you're young. And you say, well, I don't know what you're going to be, but I know you don't have to be anything. You are something already. When you came out the womb, you were something. We just have to figure out, not let that be trained out of you. See, teachers are not supposed to take your natural inclinations and train them out of you, because your natural inclination is the embryo of your originality. And so he said, well, you're blinking your eyes wrong, William, and I don't like the way you put your right hand underneath your chin. That's wrong. You have to put it this way, and you have to do it this way. And so, like, we have to realize that they say Louis Armstrong played the trumpet wrong. Louis Armstrong influenced all of music. Okay. And that Dizzy Gillespie, okay, he puffed, but who could play like Dizzy Gillespie? Okay. So rules are put in place. Why are rules put in place? You look at the William Russo book of arranging, don't do this, don't do that. You look at the Jamie Eversole book Don't do this. Don't play too many flatted fifths. Don't play this. Don't play that. Don't put too much emotion in your solo. Don't do this. Don't do that. And if you add up all those don'ts, you wouldn't have any music. You know, I mean, like John Coltrane broke all those rules. Well, Albert Einstein broke all those rules. You know, well, he plays wrong. All these guys play wrong. But you know, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. You know, it's that kind of logic. Is that who makes these rules and why do they make them? Why would you want to make, you know, like, why would you want to make? I mean, there's some technical things. You know, if you want to have longevity like Clark Terry did on the trumpet, you have to have no pressure technique, and you have to blow. But sometimes it's not about longevity. Sometimes it's about playing when you have to play and making your statement, and not about longevity. You know, living a long life is nice, but maybe that's not what it's about. It's about what you do, however long you live in the life, not how long you live the life and don't do anything. You know what I mean? It's well, I'm 99 years old. I haven't done anything. You know, like I've been, you know, like, yeah, I'm 99 years old. What have you done? You know, well, I'm 99 years old. So yeah, okay. So, well, this guy's, he's 20, he died when he was 25. He did more than you done when you lived to be 99. So it's not to measure things, but it's like to try to figure out, to not be cut short by being put in an institution that tells you right from wrong in music and in other things, you know, in poetry. And that you can invent things, you can break rules, and because that's how art is, and that's how creativity is. You know, when you discover things, not so much create things, but as discover things, and when you discover things, you know, it shows you a different path, a different way of doing things.
So, I mean, a lot of what you're saying, you know, it seems like there's this one stream of creating music where it's coming from the individual, you know, and everybody's got their own sound and they're fine, you know, and Duke Ellington has Bubba Miley in the band, so he's taking that sound and using that tone, and you know, and then there's people going through the institution where, you know, every single string player should sound like, you know, whoever's on the record. It's like Perlman or something like that. Like, for you personally, was there like a process of this kind of decolonization? Because, I mean, if you go through the system, these ideas are implanted.
Yes. Well, I didn't go through the system, so I was lucky. I didn't, and
but even being born here, I mean,
yeah.
Just reading the newspaper, you're in the system.
Yes, you're in that system. Well, when I was 6 or 7 years old, every night my father would come home and play Duke Ellington, Diminuendo, and Crescendo in Blue.
Oh wow, the Newport.
Yeah. And so me and my brother would sit there and we'd have dance contests, dancing to Paul Gonzalez's solo. So 6 days a week we listened to Ellington, and on Saturday all day long music. That was creating a barrier against this indoctrination. And I was lucky that way. You know, it was my father's dream. When I was 8 years old, he bought me, 8, 9 years old, I got a trumpet, so I was studying trumpet. And it was his dream that me and my brother played for the Duke Ellington Orchestra. Duke Ellington was his idol. And he had a couple of people he really dug, Geronimo and Duke Ellington. And that's all he would talk about. And Coleman Hawkins, Ben Webster, Don Byas, Illinois Jacquet, Willard Willis Jackson, Gene Ammons. He's big on tenor saxophone, Roy Eldridge. And so I was surrounded by all this music. So that created some antibodies against this. And I was just very, very lucky. I mean, when I was in 7th or 8th grade, my teacher was a communist, and we were reading the New Communist Manifesto. And Mr. Hoffman was his name. I'm sure he's not around now, but he introduced us to philosophy, to Aristotle, to Socrates, Plato, and I really got into philosophy. And then from there, when I was in high school, was studying Thomas Dewey, was Samuel Beckett, and so Harold Pinter, because I was getting into independent cinema and playwriting. So I was really blessed that I always was in an alternative situation, even within a situation that was not an alternative, because I went to schools in the South Bronx, junior high school, 55, and Taft High School, and they were basically very traditional, but I always would run into, I had this teacher named Vincent Vasallo, who was supposed to be the Spanish teacher. So he comes in and he writes on the board, military industrial complex. Now he's supposed to be teaching Spanish, but he started telling us about that. And so he became a friend. So I would go to his house, and he have like certain students would go to his house who were thinking in a different way, and it wasn't like, because I could have gone. There's so much to go to the left or right to get off track in upliving where I lived, but it was just blessed. Everybody I ran into was someone who had an alternative view and would open my head up to different things. And so you can call it guardian angels, or it was like I was on this path, and a path I hadn't chosen, a path I ended up on, and the idea, okay, my first record with the Little Huey Creative Music Orchestra was Flowers Grow in My Room. And the idea is that I woke up one morning and there was these flowers on my windowsill. And I was asked to care for those flowers, to water them and take care of them. I didn't ask for this, but it was my assignment to do this. Then I had a dream about 10 years ago, and I never take a nap. I took a nap on the couch, and I had a dream that each musician is assigned a certain number of people they're supposed to reach in life. Because I often wondered that, okay, this guy's doing concerts and like 3 people show up, 4 people show up, 5 people show up. This guy, other guy is going to Europe and he's playing for thousands of people. And that we each have certain people we're supposed to reach, and we don't know how many people that is. It could be one. I could have already reached the person I was supposed to reach. It could be just one person. But that night when there was nobody there, and instead of canceling the concert, I played for one person or 2 people. And we played like we were at Carnegie Hall on a snowy night for 2 people. Maybe one of those people was one of the people I'm supposed to reach. I don't know. Because you never know, they never come up to you. Every once in a while, like you'll be riding on the subway and someone will tap you on the shoulder and they'll say, "Oh, you William Parker?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you came to my high school like 25 years ago. Man, you changed my life," and blah, blah, blah. I said, "Oh, okay." Right on. But that's, okay. I'm not even concerned with that, but you just keep doing it, you keep playing, you keep doing it like your life depended on it, you keep moving, you keep following things until you can't do it anymore. And
yeah, so you got this amazing concert coming up with Sun Ra Orchestra doing the music of Curtis Mayfield. And I recently spoke with Noel Scott, and a member of Sun Ra Orchestra, and he said something so profound that every day I try to come to terms with it, because as we started speaking about somehow capitalism and music is a tough mix. It's almost like there's this line from Groucho Marx. He says, military music is to music what military justice is to justice. It's somehow, and he said that Sun Ra said, if I try to make money with my music, they'll block me, but they can't stop me from losing money. And that turning of things on their head seemed to be somehow part of the whole, part of the message of Sun Ra and the orchestra. I just wanted to get your reflections on that kind of. Well, actually, you must have interacted with Sun Ra, right? He was an East Village guy, were you?
Well, here and there, he
Uh-huh.
He was playing at the Third World Cultural Center in the Bronx, and that's where I met Marshall Allen and John Gilmore and Sun Ra. Also, see him on the road. He knocked on my door once looking for Cecil Taylor, and said he had some music for him. And he said, well, he should play this. I said, I don't know which room he's in, but And then he said, well, where's Jimmy Lyons? I said, well, he's in the hotel too. He said, well, I got some music for him too. But I think that Sun Ra really was one of the great philosophers of our time. And he should go down as not just a musician, a band organizer, but a great philosopher. And what he, some of the things he said, in fact, all the things he said ring true, in the sense that, well, okay, we've tried the known and it doesn't work. So all we can do is try the unknown. Because obviously, if you follow history, the known has failed us miserably. So, but the unknown there's still hope in the unknown. And that's kind of a lot of his philosophies are like that. And the thing, okay, well, they will stop us from making money with the way things are set up, but they can't stop us from not making money. They can't stop us from reaching the people. And so the idea is that, okay, how do you reach people when there's no audience? He said, well, you reach people through vibrations. And, okay, well, you're playing your instrument every morning. There's nobody listening. So, and you don't even do concerts. You don't play publicly. So how is your music reaching people? Because I believe it is. And that every time we do something positive in the world, it helps balance the world. And you know this if you ever go into like a dark place where people are doing some dark things, and you can feel a vibration there. It's like you walk in the wrong bar or the wrong room. It's let me get the heck out of here, because this place is, whoa, it's not. It's like there's something crazy going on here, and you can feel it. And when people are doing good things, you can feel, oh, it's a nice vibe here. Let me stay here. So all you have is what you believe in, because the thing is, that's all you have. I mean, when you have nothing else, you believe in, things that are unbelievable. That every time I'm playing a note, some kid in India that's starving on the street is being uplifted from that sound. That's the imagery. And that it has a purpose. When no one's listening, it's going in the earth. The earth has big ears. And so it goes in the earth and it's flowing out and people feel it. And there are enough people around the world who are playing music this very second, who are helping the poor, who are thinking beautiful thoughts and writing the truth in words, painting beautiful paintings. That's well, I feel so good this morning because of that. It's all an extension of the universe and nature. It's all an extension, all of these things. So I think that you have to have a philosophy that will keep. If you have a philosophy that's a dead end, then it just won't work for you. And what I mean by dead end philosophy is a philosophy where it has to have a result, where the result is sort of, well, if we do this, this will happen. It's more like, if we do this, this will happen, but I can't prove it. I have to believe that it's going to happen. Because that's all I have is to believe in something, and through dreams and visions, these things will happen. Because there's magic, the idea. Okay, the statement is that the highest form of magic is the illogical. The lowest form of magic is illogical. So we have to go with what's illogical. Illogic is all you really can depend on. Because logic is, you put money in the bank and you get interest. These people are living over here, okay, we're going to just take the oil and now we're millionaires. That's logic. But what about saying, okay, these people are living over here, leave them alone. Go over there and say, you got oil in your land, you all should be millionaires, not these guys. So, and then when you become a millionaire, this is what you're supposed to do with the money. You're supposed to go someplace else where they're not millionaires, you're supposed to help them develop their country. And you say, well, wait a second now, these people have rich soil, they used to have clean waters. Why are the waterways dirty? It's like the answers to these problems are so simple, and just that, greed and the severe capitalism and not caring about each other has really just messed up the planet. That's all it's about. And if everybody had a little bamboo flute and they got up in the morning and played it, world changed like that. Imagine you probably can't imagine this, but like Donald Trump playing a bamboo flute in the morning.
Speaking of Donald Trump, it was almost prophetic. I don't know if you even realized this, but there's something you wrote in the book in 1998, and in the same sentence you said, George Bush and Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump could never understand this, or something like that. What was your intuition back then to lump all these guys in the same category?
Well, Ronald Reagan was the worst. Well, was the beginning of the terrible, terrible presidents. When he was governor, he cut anybody who lived in California, not businessmen. He cut every service that had to do with human beings. He cut it. And he's the one that said, companies have the same rights as human beings. And that was the beginning where the NRA and all these companies began to just exert their power. You check out the Bush crime family and, Prescott Bush I mean, when he was in college, they dug up Geronimo's bones in Oklahoma, and they wouldn't give them back. You know, I mean, you can just list all the things that, you know, the oil, the stealing, the cheating. And then Trump, the same way. I mean, I never did like Donald Trump when he was in New York. He had you know, the thing he did with the Central Park Five.
Right.
You know, that ad he took out in the New York Times, and you go on and on and on. Everything he's done, it's been a failure. And he's just not firing on all cylinders. You know, he's got 8 cylinders and not one of them is firing. You know, it's just like the starter doesn't work. It just you know, it just doesn't click in, you know. So how he became president, you know, it's a long story.
All right. Well, I don't want to end on that note.
We don't.
So
But, you know, let me just clarify. So Sun Ra Orchestra, led by Marshall Allen, and then William Parker. Well, actually, we begin the evening. William Parker, the inside songs of the inside the songs of Curtis Mayfield, and just to say 2 seconds about that project. That is a project where been doing. It started about 10 years ago. Did a recording in Paris and New York, and it's where Curtis Mayfield had passed away, and I liked his music, and the idea was to extend upon the sentiment of his songs, using commissioning Amiri Baraka, who's now left us, to write the words that Curtis didn't write because Curtis died. And so there are extensions upon, you know, People Get Ready, This Is My Country, Move On Up, all his songs. And we sort of go inside and I write these interludes. And so it's a combination of funk, free jazz, R&B, and with a new poet, Thomas Sayers Ellis, and Lena Conquest doing vocals, and we have backup singers, and we have a large ensemble, about 7 horns, 2 pianos, Cooper Moore and Dave Burrell were playing piano, electric piano, replacing the guitar, and acoustic piano.
Yeah, I love that album, and I think that it's very interesting for me to see how when musicians who explore the genre that gets defined as free music or something, when they touch on the into the realms of gospel and these kind of other genres, you see that connection, that how closely they're related.
Well, they're very related. I mean, if you go into the church and people go into what we call the Holy Ghost, and they start, you know, clapping, they get the Spirit, which is connected to the Santeria. You know, if you go to Haiti and places like that, and people are getting possessed. So it's really losing yourself in the music where you don't really care about being proper. Steve McCall, the drummer, told me Charlie Parker played for his high school graduation. And he said Bird was drooling when he played the saxophone. He wasn't clean. You know, he was playing so much. And so it's like, well, you don't care what you look like. You don't care what's going on. You're into the music. And it always happens. It happens in all music if people would let it happen. They don't try to control it. But because it's almost like when music, we say music is this constant flowing river that never stops, and we jump into it and swim in it while we're playing, and then when we stop and get out, the music continues. But the idea that this is happening all the time, and it's just, if we let ourselves go, then we can go. But if you sort of train like this, from here to here is music, and from here to here is music. You can't go out this box, because if you go outside that box, that's not where we can't control it then, because then anything can happen. We're in the unknown territory, and we don't want to go in the unknown. We're only comfortable about what we know. If you start saying, well, what key is it in? And say, well, we're not really playing in a key. Well, what does that mean? Or things like, well, we're not playing any chord changes. Well, how are you going to play music without chord changes? I said, all over the world they play music without chord changes. There's more people in the world right now playing without chord changes than there are playing with chord changes. So it's again a big world view, and that's Sun Ra, and Sun Ra, and Marshall, 95 years old right now, Marshall Allen, he's still going, and they Sun Ra would investigate everything. I mean, you go to one of their rehearsals.
Ooh, just died.
Okay, all right.
So maybe that's it.
Bully, baby.
I have more batteries, but I think we did it.
No, now this is what WNYC.
Well, WKCR, and then I have a podcast called NYC Radio Live.
Okay,
so it's just
cool.
multiple.
All right, good.
Multiple. All right. Well, that was fun. Thank you for your time.
Your eyes all right?
Yeah. No, I was so moved. That's why.
Excuse
me, sir. I couldn't help myself. I was like,
Oh, okay. I thought you had an allergies or something. You were allergic to flowers.
Oh, this is so beautiful roses.